Welcome to the LeadHer Shift podcast. This is what I like to call a safe space. A space for bold women building their power, presence, and purpose from the inside out. A space where we explore what it means to lead with clarity, courage, and conviction. So wherever you are in the world, hey, I'm your host, Alian Ollivierre, and I am super honored that you're tuning in today. So welcome to the LeadHer Shift. We have Bina Freilich on the call today, and I am so excited. You know why I'm so excited? I'm excited because this is a woman similar to me who is helping other women, not just to develop, but to own their truth and to understand some of the traumas, some of the things that they have been through, some of the experiences they've gone through, and how they can see the other side, right? She leads what is called Wounds to Wings. And I think that is so brilliant. I want to hear a little more about how that all came about. So, welcome, Bina. Tell me a little bit. Let's start there. Where did Wounds to Wings come from?
So first of all, thank you, Alian. I really appreciate you having me. Um, where did Wounds to Wings start from? So when I got divorced, I am an abuse survivor. And after I got divorced, I went through, I'd like to call it a metamorphosis, just
Mm,
like a cocoon that turns into a butterfly. And that's truly how I gained my wings.
mm,
I think that journey of transformation to who I was to who I am today, it really reminds me of someone who has turned into a butterfly, but
right.
instead of a cocoon, I turned my wounds into wings.
Mm,
Because today, when I look back, I don't recognize the person that I was that many,
mm.
about 15, 16 years ago.
But that's the thing. So, we always talk about personal development and about transformation, and we talk about how important it is to kind of visualize the you want to be and start charting a path forward in that way. But not everyone can identify that. Not everyone can see the women they want to be, but also they might have no idea how to even start. And so, walk me through a typical process. If I am a woman and I come to you and I come to you with my wounds and I come to you with my experiences and my lived traumas, and I say to you, look, this is who I'm thinking. I'm not too sure who I want to be. What is your path to helping them get there?
It's I'm going to start first of all by talking about myself, and then
Right.
I'll respond to your question about how I help other women. Um, when I was still in that cocoon
Mm,
stage, I didn't know who I wanted to be.
mm,
I just knew there was something in me that said, "There's something great waiting for me."
mm.
That feeling didn't go away, and I know that sometimes it's your survival instinct, right? It's
True.
basically the mind telling you that there's something great. So maybe it was that, but I've always felt that, even as a child, that there was something great. I had no idea how to get there because I was never empowered.
Right.
No one believed in me, you know? And for me, it was a journey.
Right.
It it made me, life made me go through down these different paths
Right.
because life isn't simple, right? You're going to have ups and downs. You are going to face difficulties, and it's all about how you face those difficulties is what matters.
Mm,
Do you have a positive mindset, or do you have a negative mindset? And to me, positivity is something that I embrace. I am a glass half full person.
right.
And I use the same technique or the same method to help other women, because when women come to me and they say I'm struggling, um, the first part is really understanding, like, what are they struggling with? How exactly are they struggling? The next path is, okay, we are going to do this, this, and this to get there.
Right.
And it's very interesting. It's not like magically something happens. During that during that process of here's how we're going to get there, we end up taking steps back and saying, okay,
Mm.
hold off right now. I need to understand why you do this and why is it that you are not able to do something,
Right.
right? And then I hold them accountable. And then I say,
Mm.
and then I ask them questions. What is it that makes you this way?
Right.
And then they go back to say, well, when I was a kid, this is what happened and this is how I dealt with it. And I'm like, okay, bingo.
Mm.
Now we need to change that.
I feel like what I'm hearing, and I see this come up time and time again, even with some of my clients,
Mhm.
where there's moments of taking steps forward, but sometimes what you said, sometimes we got to go back. But one of the things that is very distinct is there's a moment or a sequence of unlearning you have to do. You kind of have to unlearn the old patterns, things that have been fed to you,
Yeah.
things that you thought were normal, but that normal may not be good for right now, and
Right.
there may be shifts that have to happen along the way, right? I don't know that everybody gets that. Do you ever have situations where like the women you're helping or any person who kind of sees what you have going on is pushing back against some of that, especially the unlearning?
I have had a client do that so far. Most of my clients have been very open,
Right.
but this one particular client was having difficulty.
Mm,
And and I think part of it was not anyone's fault.
right.
Part of it was that there was a lot that she still wasn't sharing with me.
Mm, mm.
You know,
So not enough
we as
openness. Right.
right. So we as humans are wired to protect ourselves.
True.
And when we go through trauma, we push it down, right? We push it away deep into our mind or our core or our gut or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And we ourselves don't know that we have done that,
Mm,
right? Because it's a survival technique. That's how we all survive
yeah. Yeah.
when we go through trauma.
Mm,
We tell ourselves lies. We tell ourselves we are perfectly okay. We tell ourselves we don't need anyone. We tell ourselves we are better than others, or we tell ourselves, I don't believe in trauma or that it impacts me. Those are all lies that we tell ourselves.
mm.
And it's not that we tell ourselves those lies because we are pretending that they didn't happen. It's just survival.
Survival. Mm. There is this I was having this conversation just recently about the distinction between trauma and toxicity, right? And for you, I'm going to throw that question to you. Do you think that, because I know there are many persons, I've seen it time and time again, living in, as you said, a lie. So feeding themselves a lie based on their perception of even how they grew up. So, oh yeah, I had a great childhood, everything was great, da da da. But then their toxic traits or behaviors that are showing up in adulthood, and it may not have been trauma in the way of like a dramatic experience or something that someone has done to you, but yet there are things that someone has done to you to create the toxic behaviors or to create the perception you believe isn't toxic, but it is. And I just want to ask you, to bring you into that conversation, like, is there a distinction between trauma and toxicity? And can persons maybe be blinded by the toxic behaviors, even though their perception of like their childhood and things that they've gone through have been good?
So I understand exactly where you're coming from. Trauma is either one particular incident or occurrence, whereas toxicity is, just general way of life. You get used to it. I personally think, and I can speak from my experience,
Mm-hmm.
that repeated toxicity feels like trauma,
Ah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, it's not it's not like, okay, one person said one thing to you
Mm,
and that was it. That was their toxic behavior being projected onto you.
yeah.
But when that toxic behavior is repeated
Mm,
over and over and over again,
yeah,
that becomes traumatic.
it does.
It doesn't have to be a specific incident,
Yeah.
but again, I use this analogy all the time. It's like, let's say you scratch yourself,
Mm,
right? Let's say that scratch is a toxic behavior.
mm,
But imagine if you keep scratching, if you use your fingernails to constantly keeps doing this,
yeah,
what
yeah.
happens?
It,
That little scratch turns into a
a
wound.
massive wound. Yeah, that's it.
And then the more you keep scratching it, the more you keep scratching it, the deeper it gets. And guess what happens then? It gets infected.
That's right.
And
That's
that's what I think is toxic behavior
that's brilliant.
repeatedly.
That's actually brilliantly put. And I think if only we could be a little more self-aware and understand that, you know, two two truths could be the same. Like you
Yeah,
can have an amazing childhood, but at the same time, there may have been traits that have been fed to you or you've experienced or even small little scratches or situations that
right.
may have occurred that were toxic to the point where they were so repeated that you've now experienced trauma
Yeah.
and you may not
And
want to. Mhm.
right. And when we say an amazing childhood, in what way are we talking about it being
Right,
amazing? Was it
right.
because you had a big house, you had your
Yeah.
own bedroom, you wore fancy clothes, you went to
Hmm.
parties, you
Hmm.
drank, you listened to music? Is that amazing?
Mm.
Because on the outside, it looks amazing. It looks
Yeah, the
perfect,
material things do always. Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But on the inside, I always say, what happens behind the four walls of a house, right?
Mm.
That is your real life,
That's right.
not what people see.
That's right. And I it's so funny because I think more and more I have conversations, I recognize that I also think that persons paint that picture too, because especially in different contexts, but I think persons paint that picture because they don't necessarily want to bring shame to a family or they don't want it to seem as though parents didn't do all they could, and so it's more, it doesn't always mean as a protection of self.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is persons protecting others in the process
Mhm.
and then feeding themselves that to almost convince themselves it was okay when it was
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
you know. And I don't think we can push past to get to where we need to go if we don't accept that actually it wasn't okay, you
Yeah.
know.
No, you nailed it. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
We protect others. We are worried about society. We are worried about what people are going to think about you as a person.
yeah,
How are people going to judge you? We live in a very judgy society, right?
very.
Everyone is judging,
Yeah,
right? And that's what we are afraid of.
yeah. I've also found that it also feeds into what how women see themselves, but also what career paths they go down, what titles they long after, how they even identify, like how do they self-identify as seeing themselves as important. Like if I'm not attached to this particular job or this particular title or seeing myself as a leader, maybe I have not had that successful life that I thought I did, or society won't perceive it as me being successful, whatever that means, right? How have you seen women show up through a career lens where they may have been taking their whatever they've gone through personally and now projecting that to their career?
That is first of all, what you just said is so true. I have seen this personally, and I'm not saying this applies to everyone because
Yeah.
obviously there are exceptions to
Yeah, for
everything,
sure.
right? But in my experience, I have seen that when there have been young girls who
Hmm.
were raised by mothers who believed in them and empowered them and said, you can do whatever you want, or you are smart, you are beautiful.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that, everyone gets a trophy kind of way, but honest, right? Honestly loving your child as they are and accepting them and then empowering them. I have seen those women um, succeed far more
Mm.
than women who have not had that. Or
Mm.
if there are women who have, then they have had that journey that has led them to become successful because that success didn't come to them very early in life. It came to
Right.
them much later in life because they had to go through that path where they had to unlearn behaviors
Yeah.
and stop projecting and teach themselves to be a different, not a different person, but a better version of themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is 100% true where there are, I shouldn't say 100% because I know I'll get some feedback on that. Say 90% cases where women are led by strong women, have strong mothers who empower their children. Those girls do end up definitely in leadership type of roles. I'm not saying again there are no exceptions. There are a lot
Yeah,
of women
for
out
sure.
there who have fought the battles and have not been empowered, and it has nothing to do with wealth.
Yeah, no.
You know, you
Yeah.
don't have to be rich or poor.
Yeah.
You can be anything. You
Yeah.
can come from a family where you living below the poverty line, but if your mother has told you you can do whatever you want to be,
Yeah.
or do whatever you want to do, be whatever you want to be, and you are fine the way you are, and you're beautiful the way you are, those girls, they get almost a heads up,
Yeah. Yeah.
good way,
Yeah, for sure.
because they believe in themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I
As
always
women,
get that, I always get that question of like what has driven you to success, and I could agree wholeheartedly that, the support you have, not just from family, but from the women in your life. It's
mhm,
almost like you could see them in yourself, or yourself in them, sorry. Because when you see strength in the through your lens of women that you really admire, you kind of believe more that you could be that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Who was
and
that for you?
yeah, huh, that's a long story. I had to learn to empower myself.
Mm,
I am not one of those in
right,
that category. My road was different. My journey was longer. It took me a while to get there.
right.
I had to, and just like you said, you have to have a woman or a women surrounding you that tell you you can do whatever. Because if you don't, until you get to that point where you can tell yourself that, it takes a while.
Hmm.
And it took me
Yeah.
a while. You know,
Mm,
my journey to, I could say, my road. to where I am today started after my divorce,
Right.
and me really learning to value myself
Mm.
and accept myself. And I think at the end, I tell this to all women, you have to love yourself because that's the biggest hindrance in your life is when you don't love yourself
Did that love for you or acceptance of self for you come before or after divorce?
after divorce.
After divorce.
Yeah.
What is it that made you feel like you needed that though after divorce?
Because someone asked me, so who is Bina?
Mm,
And I said, I'm a mom, I'm a divorcee. I don't know what else I am.
because it was all tied to someone else or or
Yeah.
to do you okay, oh, so many questions. Do you feel so sorry, but do you feel like how society has framed what women are to be, how women are to show up? Do you feel like that is what guided some of your journey prior to divorce?
Partly
Okay.
society and family. And,
And
and, and,
family.
and if you include family and society, then that's part of it.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure. Because I mean, regardless, it's other outside external opinions, but from
Right.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
I think that has a huge impact. We are conditioned
yeah,
to be a
yeah,
certain way, to
yeah.
look a certain way, to behave in a certain way, to not do certain things, to dress a certain way. We are conditioned from the time we're young.
Mm. Do you have any daughters?
I do. I have two
Mm.
girls.
What is it that you are passing on? Having had a myriad of experiences, what are you passing on to them? What is it that you think they can look at you and be like, you know what? Mom did that.
I don't know so much. I think we don't talk about it that
Right.
much.
Okay.
But I tell my girls to take risks,
Mm,
calculate risks.
mm.
Because if you don't take a risk, if you don't take chances, you're never going to figure out if something's going to work or not.
True. True. I
Right?
think we're very risk averse as women, though.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I learned that. I
Yeah.
learned that if I tell my kids to always play it safe, they will not keep moving ahead in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want my kids to take calculated risks because that's the only way to find out if something's going
Mm.
to work or not. You can't play it safe.
I agree. And I think, I've been having this experience even as a mom myself. Uh, just looking at my son versus my daughter and like how they approach life even as young beings, and it always brings up the thought that regardless of the qualifications, regardless of whether men think they're ready or able, they go after it, they take
Yeah.
risks, they challenge themselves, they put up their hand a lot. And women, I don't know what it is, but somehow I think as a generality, this is not all women, but as a generality, we tend to be like, oh no, I need more qualifications. Oh no, I need to spend more time learning this. Oh no, I need to make sure I have all my T's crossed and my I's dotted before I go
Yeah.
after an opportunity.
Yeah.
What would you say to those women right now listening?
Why are you thinking that?
Mm,
Why? Who told you
yeah.
that you don't deserve it? Who told you that you shouldn't charge ahead?
Mm,
And and if someone didn't tell you, then you've told yourself.
hmm. Hmm. I find that what you just said there is so powerful that even if someone hasn't told you, we tell ourselves, and it's crazy. Like we create the narratives that are in our mind that sometimes come from nowhere or come from the perception of
Yeah.
things when perception isn't necessarily truth.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Persons might say, well, it's easy for you to say that because you go after it and you get things done. You
Yeah.
don't limit yourself, etc. But they don't see the coaching that you do for yourself. They don't see, sometimes the praying and all the things you do, the journaling and you know,
Yeah. The
they don't
work that we
see
put
what
in.
that work is.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is something I've seen in my life. Women don't ask for the salary they believe they deserve.
Mm, they don't.
I have
And they think,
myself experienced that.
but I think do is it that we feel like we're inconveniencing others? Because I feel like there's this feeling of, oh no, but I don't, maybe it's gonna be too much. It's like I don't want to inconvenience whatever it is that I'm asking for, or whoever it is that I'm asking of this. Do you feel it's that, or is there something else? Why don't we ask? Why aren't we bold enough? Why aren't we loud about what we want?
I think we're afraid.
Mm,
We're afraid of being rejected.
mm,
We are afraid of fighting because we are going to be called loud and obnoxious. Or
mm,
if I can say the B word,
mm.
I don't want to say it, we're in a podcast, but biatch,
Yeah.
right?
Mm,
The women are told to not be out there.
right.
Again, it comes back to being judged. We are
Yeah.
so afraid of being judged. Have you seen women who are like really strong and powerful? They don't give a damn.
Yes.
They're like, call me a biatch.
Yeah. Just, I mean, what does that mean? You
I
know.
own it. Yeah, I own it,
Mm,
you know? And I think that's the problem. We don't go after what we deserve because we tell ourselves that either we tell ourselves that we don't deserve it, or we tell ourselves that we're going to be judged, or we are afraid of being rejected or being declined.
right.
And I tell my girls this all the time. What's the worst they'll say is no.
Right.
You go
I
back and say, yeah, I accept.
Yes. What's the worst they could do or say? Like
Yeah,
I also think like we don't prepare ourselves for the no's. We don't say, you know what, the answer may be no, but if it's no, it's okay. Like we literally go in only expecting or wanting yes, and unex maybe that expectation is what keeps us disappointed,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So talk to me a little bit because I know from wounds to wings isn't just about your helping women to lead and kind of discover themselves, but you also help them in dating, relationships, and building the love that they're looking for. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So I am married to the most amazing man in the world.
Awesome.
And I believe that is because of all the work that I put in
Hmm.
through my dating journey. So I've just started a new series on TikTok and all the other platforms called How I Met My Husband.
Oh, okay.
And it's about my journey from after getting divorced to how I met him,
Right.
and and what I learned in the process, what I discarded in the process,
Hmm.
and how I really learned to value myself in that entire journey. That's another area where I also went through a metamorphosis where
Right.
I turned my wounds of not appreciating me for who I am, not seeing me for who I am. I didn't
Right.
know the qualities that I had in me.
Mm.
And that journey, that year and a half till I met him, um, I truly became the best version of myself. And I continue to, grow a lot thanks to him. He's such an amazing person. But yeah, I want that. I want that for other women. I don't want them to settle. I want them to understand their own worth, because we so undervalue ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? We tell ourselves we're not smart. We tell ourselves someone else is more beautiful than us. We tell ourselves we don't deserve this. And I want to change that, because I truly believe that women, if they really get to know themselves, and they fall in love with themselves, and they accept their good, the bad, and the
Bad.
ugly for
That's
what it
right.
is,
Yeah.
right? What's going to happen? They will then find the partner. They will not find the partner. They will then attract the partner that is also good for them. And then guess what's going to happen? Then they will improve the next generation. They will
That's
have children, and they will be better parents to them than I was.
right.
Then they will be better. Then those children will be better to their friends, and there'll be less bullying. And then those friends will learn the value of friendship. So it's a whole it's what do I call it? It's not a circle, but you could say it's a whole cycle, right?
Cycle. Yeah. Yeah.
We lead, we become better to attract a better partner. We raise kids to be less dysfunctional and
Yeah.
provide, we give them the best version of ourselves. Then those children carry that on, because then they also continue to do the same. That cycle, that journey continues for them in the same way. Because as humans, we are so messed up. We all come from dysfunctional families. There are very few that don't,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I truly believe that we pass on this dysfunctionality from one generation to
To the
another,
other. That's right.
you know?
That's
So my
spot
hope,
on.
yeah.
That's
So my
spot
hope
on.
is that we can do that. We can, and let's start with women.
Yeah. Because there's so much to unpack here. But what one of the things I think along the lines of what you were saying is that it's super important to work on yourself as an individual.
Yeah.
And I found that, I don't necessarily believe in my better half
No.
in the sense that, no, both of us, we are two wholes coming together and joining in this union to create something brilliant. But if you come as a half and they come as a half, we can got some friction, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think there's enough work being done individually before you come to the stage of marriage. Because
Exactly.
I don't know your thoughts, but I see marriage as the standard, right? This is the pinnacle of relationships. Marriage in itself is a self-development journey.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of
Yeah.
heart. And so, but when you don't come as a whole person or as close to whole as possible, understanding all the good, the bad, and the ugly, as you said, marriage becomes harder to sustain and maintain, right?
Absolutely.
So, what's your thoughts on, marriage being the standard? And is it being trivialized? Are we not taking it as seriously? Are we not leading ourselves enough to develop individually so that we could be prepared should we attract the right mate?
So I want to go back to what you said. You two whole people have to come together. Um, I say this to my clients all the time. Two broken parts don't make a whole,
Right,
right? If one person is broken, the other person is broken, they will never be able to survive together.
right.
How can they,
Yeah,
right? How can this broken person help another broken person?
right.
They're just going to clash.
Mm,
So I believe in marriage as an institution, but I don't believe that two people who come together have to stay married just because marriage is an institution.
just because it's a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Again, it comes back to children, right?
Right.
If we are married and we are miserable, and we're gonna raise dysfunctional children.
Yeah.
Not dysfunctional children, but children with dysfunctionalities,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And then the whole cycle continues, and the children will do the same, and then it continues and continues, and it never stops. I think if marriage is not working, and I know I'll get a lot of feedback again on this as well because it's controversial. Um, I think if marriage is not working and you have tried everything possible to make that marriage work, it's better to let it go.
And is there oh gosh, this is not a marriage podcast, but I am just so intrigued, especially, I'm married myself, and I always have conversations with a lot of friends and colleagues about marriage, right?
Yeah,
And I think one of the key paths to so there's 2 points I'm going to make, and you can expound on them.
yeah,
One point is that I think there is a misconception in general that marriage is a contract as
mm-hmm.
opposed to it being a covenant, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We could dissect that. But
Sure.
then on the other path, I think both persons have to come being willing to grow. And it doesn't always mean they're growing at the same pace. It also doesn't mean that they're growing on the same path. They may be adjacent to each other, they may be like this, but I see it almost as a triangle where when we are growing, at some point we must get here where our individual growth as we are married brings us closer together. And so I'm curious about what your thoughts are on those two planes, because and why this is important as well is because I think how you lead in your home translate to how you lead outside of your home, right? Is literally this is the place where you're most likely to be gentle. This is the place where you're most likely to put in a lot more effort. This is the place where you're most likely to be have the most empathy and consideration, not just of your partner, but the family you build. And so that automatically could translate to the relationships you build with colleagues, with bosses, with other team members. And so it comes down to that, how you lead in here. So what are your thoughts on those two things, covenant versus contract, and then the growth of individuals in a marriage?
Right. So I think that marriage as an institution has evolved
Mm,
a lot, right? Um, I believe that marriage is a man-made institution,
mm-hmm,
and it was made. Who knows exactly when the whole thing happened and why marriage became a thing. Um, I do believe that. Look, I'm married again, right? So obviously, I believe in marriage, but I don't. I don't think so. So for me, it's two people. If two people are committed to each other, they don't have to get married for that relationship to work,
yeah.
because people cheat,
Mm-hmm,
right? People abuse.
yeah.
So if that marriage is supposed to be so sacred, why are these things happening?
Mm,
Because we're humans,
right.
and we are, again, products of our past, and we are, I hate to say this, we're messed up.
Mm,
So I think that commitment is more important
mm,
than signing that paper that you
right.
are married. Because if you are committed, that's all you need. And don't get me wrong, I think my marriage to my husband is amazing. I wouldn't have it any other way. But I don't believe it is for everyone.
Yeah.
And especially today's kids, today's generation, a lot of them don't want to get married, or if they don't want to have kids.
Right.
And so that's one part. I think marriage can be wonderful, and marriage can be the end of your life in many ways, because when two people come together, if two broken people come together, they're only going to end up making each other miserable. Right? So that's one part. The second part, it's very interesting that you said that, the journey and the growth. That also depends on how old you were when you got married. I've actually done a post on that about the different paths of growth between couples. And I put it this way: so some couples, they grow parallel, right? They grow just like this.
Yeah.
Some couples grow this way, where it's like an infinity sign, right? They grow in some things they continue to do and love together, and some things they do separate.
Right.
Again, I'm talking about couples who are married young. And then there are some couples who marry and then they go this way.
That's right.
That can never become a triangle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
It's true.
And because who you are in your 20s is not who you are in your 30s, and not who you are in your 40s.
That's right.
So how can we expect a couple who gets married in their 20s to be the exact same person when they are 10 or 20 years older?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because each person is having their own, even though they live together, but the rest of the time they are working, they're meeting other people, they're learning different things, they're adapting differently, right? And how can we expect those two people to grow exactly the same way?
Right.
So when people say, oh, today's kids don't have patience, they don't want to adjust, I disagree with that. It's not that they don't have patience and they don't want to adjust. It's just that they're practical. Right. They realize that there is no hope. And I'm not talking, and I don't condone divorce in any shape or form unless it's not working.
Right.
Also, to me, if there is abuse, if there is cheating, walk away. I tell people
trust at that point, right?
Yeah. I tell people it's better to walk away the moment the thought of cheating comes into your brain.
Right.
That means there's something lacking in that relationship that's making you want to cheat. Or if you're just a plain cheater, in that case, either way, leave.
Yeah. It's true.
Some people are,
Yeah. But even in your dialogue, it really still reinforces the point that you have to want to lead yourself in the best and most positive way. And only then, can you be at your best wholeness for any relationship, whether it's an intimate one or not,
Yep.
Self-leadership can be difficult. And self-leadership can open a lot of wounds, old ones and new ones, that can be extremely painful. And so I've found that many don't want to sit in that pain. Many don't want to feel that pain. Many don't want to understand that pain. How are we going to get others to recognize this is a pain that should be addressed? Or is it even our duty to do that?
If we want to marry someone and we want to be in a relationship with someone, even if you don't want to get married, I think it's our responsibility to heal our wounds before we project those wounds onto someone else, because we
Right.
will project at some point or another. We will.
And might hurt others. Yeah.
Yeah. If we hurt inside and if we are wounded inside, we are going to project.
Yeah.
It is not possible. And then no one does it on purpose.
Right.
It's just that if you haven't healed something that's broken inside, how can you bring that whole self? Because you're not, you may be a whole person, but inside you, there are things that have made those wounds make hollows inside you.
Right.
How can you be the best version of yourself when you are still wounded?
Right. So for you, Bina, oh, this has been so powerful. So for you, Bina, I know that you have transformed your wounds into wings. And so my many questions, but my question, we could be here all day, is, you know, do you still have to train those wounds to stay healed?
I'm going to have to think about that.
Okay. And what do you want to happen next in your wounds to wings journey, in the things that you're doing for other women? What do you want the next steps to be for you?
So, to answer your first question, my old wounds have healed, but that doesn't mean I don't get new wounds.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
It's just life, right?
Yeah.
There's always going to be something or the other. We're connected to human beings, we are children, our spouses, our friends, our family.
Yeah.
There's always going to be something there. So I have to keep working on them. I don't say that. So I am whole at the moment,
Yeah.
but there's always, it's like a car that gets a little dent, you
Mm.
know, sometimes a small dent, sometimes a big dent, and then you have to fix that.
Yeah.
So I think healing is a lifelong process,
Right.
and we have to continue healing forever,
Right.
so that we can be good to others.
Right.
Um, but as far as the next part, what's next for us or for me? Um, I want to continue to help women heal,
Mm.
um, and find love again,
Right.
just like I did.
Yeah.
Not for any other reason except that what I have is so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. I feel like I'm the luckiest woman in the world to have found my partner, my husband. I want that for everyone
But could I
because I
ask you
didn't
though?
have it the first time, right?
Could I ask you what makes it
Yeah.
so amazing? What could we
He
learn from you now?
he is the yin to my yang.
Okay.
We complement each other. We laugh all the time.
Mm.
We are both very confident and very independent.
Mm.
We both love our space. And more than anything, we laugh all the time. We
Nice.
just he has a great sense of humor. And so we just laugh all the time. And I think, like I said, I think the reason why um, we connect so well is that he has uh, he has that child in him that
Mm.
completely blends in, or is the best friend of the child in me.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That makes sense. You
Yeah.
know, I'm a kid at heart, and so is he. And I think our kids at heart, our hearts are the best friends.
I love that. I love how you put that. That's amazing.
So yeah, so I want that for everyone. I
Mm.
because I believe that that is what is going to change the next generation. All
Mm.
this hatred in the world, all this bullying in the world, all this anger in the world. I think we can change that one person at a time. I know I'm probably being naive that we can change it, but why not try?
I think you have to be a little bit naive, to be honest, to take the
Yeah.
risk and to do bold things. And I think you have to be a little bit delusional as well that it will be achieved. I feel like if you don't have that, you could be stuck in your head like with
Yeah.
the what ifs if you
Yeah.
don't have that delusion. As we start to wind down a little bit, um, could I ask what would 14-year-old or 12-year-old Bina say about you now? Would she be proud?
Oh, very proud.
Hmm.
Very proud.
Hmm.
That 12-year-old would say to me, I know this is not what you planned to do
Right?
or become, but wow, how did you do that?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
I don't see myself doing it at this age or
Right.
ever getting there,
Hmm.
you know?
I love
Yeah,
that.
that 12-year-old was a scared little girl.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's what it is. We just have to try. We just have to
Yeah.
try. We have to keep going. We
Yeah.
have to keep
And
going.
as I always my husband and I, there's this thing that we tell our daughter, uh, never in this family we never give up. And she
Mm,
constantly repeats it. So when she's doing an activity or when she is challenging herself to kind of do something she's never done before, she's like, yes, I never give up. And I
I
think
love that.
I think that, as young girls, we not everyone kind of tells us those things. And this circling back to what we were talking about at the top of the episode. I think there's not always persons pouring into us to say the things that we might need to hear in different moments. So if there's one thing you could tell her, the 12-year-old you or the 14-year-old you, if there's one thing you could have told her, knowing what you know now, knowing all the things you've gone through, what would that have been? Or
So
what
first
you
of all,
wish someone said. Mhm.
yeah. So first of all, I want to say thank you for telling your daughter that in this family we don't give up.
Yes.
You are empowering her. You are telling her that we just don't give up. I think that's the most beautiful thing you can do is to give
Mm.
your daughter that gift. I
Yes.
love that. I love that. That really touched my heart. What I would tell the 12-year-old, me as a 12-year-old is don't short sell yourself.
Mm.
Whatever you're thinking about yourself, like really deep down inside, that you're beautiful, that you're smart, is true.
Yeah.
Don't listen to what other people are saying.
Mm.
And you can make it.
Mm. Because you did. Hello.
I still got ways to go.
I mean, you're making it, but you've made
Yes.
it. You've made it
Yes.
in the sense of there's a stage that you never thought you would have achieved, and you are here. But of course, that doesn't mean
Absolutely.
you don't have ambitions.
Oh, no. I have a very big
Yeah.
dream out there,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, but yeah, I would say that to the 12-year-old me.
So, to the women out there who are listening, I hope that you have really taken a lot of what was said today because I know Bina poured into this to this conversation. What is one last thing or two last things that you would share if you could, whether it's a tool, a resource, something that you could say right now to a woman who might be listening, still unsure of herself, still not, still scared, still fearful of what the next stage or the next step is going to be, not even sure she understands herself enough to be aware of what next step should be. What do you want to say to her?
I would say that if anyone outside of yourself has told you that you're not worthy, that you're not smart, that you're not beautiful, just disregard all of that
Mm,
because you are smart, you are beautiful. And only when you tell yourself that will that be your truth.
mm, mm. And I think that is a perfect way to kind of close out, just reminding yourself to believe. your own words and to
Yeah.
believe your own self in this
Right.
process of development. Development isn't a one step process.
Right.
And I think you mentioned, and I totally agree, it's actually a journey.
Yeah.
And constantly there's going to be ebbs and flows, and there's going to be trials, and there's going to be wins. There's going to be every stage creates a different version of yourself.
Yeah.
And I think it's super important to remember that before anybody else could believe in you, you have to believe in you. you know,
100%.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. For all the women out there, you are worthy and you deserve love. But before anything else, you deserve to love yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's what's important.
Thank you so much, Bina.
Thank you
This
for
has
having
been
me, Alian.
awesome. I am so happy.
Absolutely.
I am.
Absolutely. I have loved this conversation. I can't tell you how much I've loved it. It's been amazing. I
Mm,
feel like I could really be myself
yeah.
and really talk about how I feel because there
Yeah.
was no prep. And I love that. It was just
Yeah.
spontaneous and it was beautiful and not at all what I expected. So thank you for having me.
You are most welcome. And I don't know, maybe we'll have you back.
I would
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, I think it will be good to I always find, it's important to kind of circle back and be like, hey, girl. So
I
what's
would love
happening
that.
now? What are we doing now?
Yes. Yes.
Um,
We can talk about so many different topics.
yes. And that's why I said we could be here for the whole day having this conversation. But beside that, I know we're busy people. I really appreciate you coming on the show. I really appreciate, I know the persons listening to the Lead Her Shift is going to appreciate everything you have shared, and it will spark a lot of conversations, which I think is important amongst women and in
Absolutely.
general, just having
Right.
conversations about how we can be better for ourselves, but how we can also chart a path for it. So thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You are most welcome. So as we close, I just want to say to all women out there, you can do this. There's a path to believing in yourself. Sometimes the first step is just you deciding to trust who you are and what you have going on. But until
That's it.
later, until next time, have a great season, whatever season you're in.
Thank you.
Now, if this episode spoke to you, share it. Don't keep it a secret. Don't gatekeep. Send it to that woman who you know needs to hear. You are not alone. And your leadership still matters. I'll repeat that. You are not alone. And your leadership matters. And wherever you listen, please subscribe to the LeadHer Shift podcast, or head on over to our website, theleadhershift.com, to connect with us there. This movement is about more than just leadership. It's about building something better. I'd love to hear your story, because your voice matters, because the world is ready for your authority. The question is, are you?